But Jacob heard that Laban's sons were saying, "Jacob has taken everything that belonged to our father and has gained all this wealth from what was our father's." Jacob also noticed that Laban's attitude toward him was no longer as it had been before. Then the Lord said to Jacob, "Return to the land of your fathers and to your homeland, and I will be with you." So Jacob sent for Rachel and Leah to come to the field where his flock was. And he said to them, "I see that your father's attitude toward me is no longer as it was before, but the God of my father has been with me. You yourselves know that I have served your father with all my strength. Yet your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times. But God did not allow him to harm me. If he said, 'The spotted animals shall be your wages,' then all the flock bore spotted young. If he said, 'The striped animals shall be your wages,' then all the flock bore striped young. So God has taken away your father's livestock and given them to me. Once, when the flock was in heat, I lifted my eyes and saw in a dream that the male goats mating with the flock were striped, spotted, and speckled. And the angel of God said to me in the dream, 'Jacob,' and I answered, 'Here I am.' And he said, 'Lift your eyes and see that all the male goats mating with the flock are striped, spotted, and speckled, for I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar and made a vow to me. Now arise, leave this land, and return to your homeland.' Then Rachel and Leah answered him, 'Do we still have any share or inheritance in our father's house? Does he not treat us as foreigners? He has sold us and has even spent our money. Surely, all the wealth that God has taken from our father belongs to us and to our children. Now then, do whatever God has told you.' Then Jacob arose, put his children and wives on camels, and took away all his livestock and all the possessions he had acquired, the livestock he had gained in Paddan Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. Meanwhile, Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel stole her father's household idols. And Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean by not telling him that he was fleeing. So he fled with all that he had, crossed the river, and headed toward the hill country of Gilead. On the 3rd day, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. He took his relatives with him, pursued Jacob for 7 days, and caught up with him in the hill country of Gilead. But God came to Laban the Aramean in a dream at night and said to him, 'Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad.' Laban overtook Jacob, who had pitched his tent in the hill country, and Laban and his relatives camped there as well. Then Laban said to Jacob, 'What have you done? You have deceived me and carried off my daughters like captives of war. Why did you run away secretly and deceive me? You did not even tell me, so that I could send you off with joy, with singing, with tambourines and lyres. You did not even let me kiss my grandchildren and my daughters goodbye. You have acted foolishly. I have the power to harm you. But the God of your father spoke to me last night and said, "Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Now, you have gone because you longed for your father's house. But why did you steal my gods?" Jacob answered Laban, "I was afraid, because I thought you would take your daughters from me by force. But if you find anyone with your gods, that person shall not live. in the presence of our relatives. See for yourself what is yours and take it." Now Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen the idols. So Laban went into Jacob's tent, then into Leah's tent, and then into the tent of the 2 female servants, but found nothing. After he came out of Leah's tent, he entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the idols, put them in the camel's saddle, and was sitting on them. Laban searched the entire tent, but found nothing. Rachel said to her father, "Do not be angry, my lord, that I cannot stand up before you, for the manner of women is upon me." So Laban searched, but could not find the household idols. Then Jacob became angry and confronted Laban. "What is my offense? What is my sin that you have pursued me? Now that you have searched all my belongings, what have you found that belongs to you? Put it here in front of your relatives and mine, and let them judge between the 2 of us. I have been with you for 20 years. Your sheep and goats have not miscarried, and I have not eaten rams from your flocks. I did not bring you animals torn by wild beasts. I bore the loss myself. And you demanded payment from me for anything stolen by day or night. The heat consumed me in the daytime, and the cold at night, and sleep fled from my eyes. I have been in your house for 20 years. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flocks, and you changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham and the fear of Isaac, had not been with me, you would surely have sent me away empty-handed. But God has seen my hardship and the labor of my hands, and last night he rebuked you." Laban answered Jacob, "The women are my daughters, the children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks. Everything you see is mine. Yet what can I do today about my daughters or the children they have borne? Now come, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it serve as a witness between us." So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. Then he said to his relatives, "Gather stones." So they took stones and piled them in a heap, and they ate there by the heap. Laban called it Jegar-sahadutha, while Jacob called it Galeed. Laban said, "This heap is a witness between you and me today." That is why it was called Galeed. It was also called Mizpah, because he said, "May the Lord watch between you and me when we are out of each other's sight." They offered a sacrifice on the mountain and invited their relatives to eat. After they had eaten, they spent the night there on the mountain.